me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
But what I try to push and let them know that recreation is just as essential to those things. I'm not saying we're more important, but we're just as important. We don't try to compete with other departments. We just try to put them up there and let them know that are your children important or not? And that's what I let them know. Your children ought to be a vital part of the community.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the 2025 GRPA Conference. Today we're sitting down with George Foley, Recreation Director for Bloomingdale, Georgia, a preacher with a powerful voice and an even more powerful message. George opens up about finding confidence, speaking up, and why parks and recreation must stop being the quietest essential service in our communities. From the impact of COVID to motivating elected officials to inspiring youth and seniors to stay active, George shares how purpose, passion, and community fuel his work. Get ready for an episode about finding your voice, owning your impact, and leading with heart. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live again. It's Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the GRPA 2025 annual convention. This is their biggest ever. How many years have you come to this? Or is this your first one?
I've been coming for over 20 years now.
Man,
It's been a long time. I'm a veteran now.
yeah. And so what were the early days like as far as how many people you would get attended versus how many are today?
It's always seemed very busy to me. So, but when I was first coming in, it was really new. So I was new to experiencing a lot of the things that was going on too. So I was just there, but now I've been doing it so long, and now I'm bringing some of my guys out here so that they can experience the same things that I did when I first started.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do this podcast a little different than most because George is a preacher, and he has his own podcast. And so I think he's going to be really good at storytelling and the power of telling your story and how important it is to tell and speak up. So when you had said earlier before we started recording that the important thing is just to get people to speak up. So why don't you say a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. We live in a society where so many people just want to fit in and fit into what they call the norm. And one of the things that happened to me at a young age is God got a hold of my life and changed my heart. And I was a person that was quiet, that didn't want to speak up and didn't want to talk. And he changed me. And one of the things I really try to do to people is understand that they have a voice that needs to be heard, to stand up and to speak. And so many people are afraid of being wrong, but the truth is that you're wrong if you're quiet, you know. And I want to encourage people as a pastor, as a recreation director. I encourage people to be the person that God created them to be, to realize that potential that a lot of people don't realize, because you miss every shot that you don't take, you know, and it's a scary thing. But I see so many people that just want to fit in, and they're not even sure who they really are.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Mr. Jay Campbell. He was a great entrepreneur in my local community. He was a business mentor of mine. And I would always ask him, when's the best time to start? And he's like, starting is the best time. Starting's the perfect environment. There's never going to be a good time for you to start, but sometimes you just got to jump off that cliff. And the same thing goes for finding your voice.
That's right.
Is just start, and you'll get better with repetition.
Absolutely.
Talk about your journey about that first time that you just started to just trying to find your voice, and then what were the kind of incremental improvements you saw in yourself as you started to just speak out about what you believed in?
Absolutely. Well, I started preaching, and I started as a recreation both in my 20s as a very young man with literally no experience, no experience as a recreation director either. The Lord put me in a spot where I took over a town, nobody to train me, nobody to teach me. And the same thing behind the pulpit, the same way. And I got in there, and I was studious. I was a student of the word. I was started making impacts in children's lives. And I realized that through that I could influence
And we're back.
Hey, we're good.
You can't get rid of us. All right, we're going to play this little promo. Now, we made this promo for the industry because Parks and Rec just got hammered and slashed during COVID because they weren't essential. And then we realized how essential they were.
Absolutely.
And so we made this video. Anybody can use it. It's free. We don't copyright it or nothing. We just hope that you can help reframe the conversation to elected officials. So I'll play this and I'm going to get your feedback on it.
Okay.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right, so give us some feedback on that.
But looking at that, I remember going through the COVID times, and I remember closing down. We actually shut down for that spring, and I remember going out to that park and seeing it empty. And I'm gonna tell you that really hurt, and I think a lot of people miss that. And you know what? We actually got back at it pretty quickly too, and there were a lot of people, but it did impact us greatly. A lot of people were missing, and I understand that that recreation is essential, and a lot of people didn't see that, but I think they saw it when it was missing, when that was missing in their life, because we need community so bad. We need team building in our children and our youth, and we even have an adult sports and everything. And we need communities to come together for that. And we've actually had people that moved to our community because of the recreation program. It is a very essential economic part. And I'd much rather see children playing at the park than children, running the streets, get in trouble and police having to parent them instead. But instead, we're raising them to be important parts of the community.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the opportunity that we have as Parks and Rec directors, and how important it is for us to speak up, like we were talking about earlier. Because I think a lot of times you have this opportunity to tell people what's going on in the Parks and Rec department, and it just seems to be the quietest industry.
I know.
What can we do to get this industry to just speak up and shout from the mountaintops about what's the benefit to the community that Parks and Rec brings?
Brother, you got to make people listen to you. And when I came to Bloomingdale, that was one of the things that it seemed like it was quiet. It seemed like so much that it seemed like there wasn't a voice And so even when I came in, people were skeptical because they said somebody's new coming in that we really don't know. And then when I came in and I had a voice and I really fought for those things and I really stood up for those children and stood up for the finances to run those programs, it earned respect too. And I think that's what people in recreation, you have to do. You have to show them, you have to encourage them, and you have to be excited about what you're doing. If your heart's not in it, if you're just showing up for a paycheck, I think you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
In recreation, you need to be there because you want to be there. It's about the same as being a school teacher. It's not like you're getting paid, but you're not getting life-changing money. You really got to have your heart in there. And when your heart's in it, people will listen. When you're motivated, when you're dedicated, and when your heart's in it, people's ears are open and they'll listen to you.
Yeah. I like how you said you have to show them. And because a lot of times you have an opportunity to say, hey, invite your elected officials to a special event, to a baseball tournament, and I want you to come see the family and the children, see it firsthand, see what your money is supporting and why it's important to your community. Have you kind of done that to reach out and invite them? What does that look like?
Definitely. One of the things I'm good at is anytime we have big events, I really try to motivate our elected officials and city officials to be there. And to see that. And I'll even send them pictures when they're not there and say, look at this, look at how many people that were impacted. And sometimes they look at, is there really that many people at the park?
Yes.
And I said, come by here and come see, because a lot of y'all are looking to make an impact in officials. I mean, in the patrons' lives and everything, but they're all at the park. And we have city council meetings, and sometimes they're poorly attended and nobody's there, but we have a baseball game or a football game and everybody in town is there. Come and let your face be seen. And we've seen that a lot more when you encourage them, when you invite them, come be a part of this. And, sometimes they want to be, sometimes they don't want to be, and that's up to them.
And so what were some of the obstacles that you've faced or some of the pushback that you've gotten, and how have you overcome those?
I think in recreation, what we always do is recreation seems to always be last on the totem pole. And I mean, it really stinks sometimes that you're battling and you're trying to show how recreation is important, but you're always fighting against public works and water. Well, everybody needs their water. Then it's against fire and police department and all those things right there. But what I've learned is I don't fight against those departments. Those departments are essential, and I agree with that. But what I try to push and let them know that recreation is just as essential to those things. I'm not saying we're more important, but we're just as important. And that's what we have to fight for. That's the voice we have to have. We don't try to compete with other departments. We just try to put them up there and let them know that are your children important or not? And that's what I let them know. Your children ought to be a vital part of the community.
A great analogy that I've heard from Parks and Rec professionals is, let's look at healthcare. So you've got your hospital services and you've got, surgeons and stuff. And this is kind of the reactive side of healthcare. But the proactive side is a healthy diet, healthy exercise, moving the body. That's the proactive side. And maybe talk about how if you have healthy input, that you really don't even need to address issues because they've never developed.
That's right.
So in what way is this a proactive part of your community?
Well, I agree. Recreation too is very proactive on your health too. We want to keep kids, we want to get them off the couch, you know? So we're living in a day of esports. We're living in a day of, they had video games when I was growing up too, but when the sun was up, we went outside. We wanted to play. Sometimes we didn't have rec sports, or I wasn't aware of them growing up, but we get everybody in the neighborhood together and we get out there and we play till the sun goes down. And if you want to play a video game, you played it when the sun was down. When the sun was up, we were outside enjoying community. So what we're trying to do is get people back to the same thing, get them up off the couch, get them healthier, get them active. From the youngest to the oldest, we've had 80-plus-year-olds out there playing co-ed softball. And I mean, that really encouraged me that over 80 years old and he can still hit the ball, run the bases and things like that. But we all need activity in our lives. And what better way to get it than come together with competition and sports and community?
Man. Okay. So we do a 1 to 2 hour show every day of the week. I want to get you on our leadership series, and we got to go deeper on this message.
Definitely.
Because I think we just need more voices. Actually, I think we have the voices. We just have to get them to stand up and start talking.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're there. They're
Yeah.
there. You gotta find them out. One of the things I'm good at, and God gave me a gift to be able to look and see in people things that they don't always see in themselves, and then call that out in them, call that person out in them. And you know what? Sometimes people just need a little bit of encouragement to stand up and speak.
Yeah. And really nothing replaces just doing it.
It doesn't. I tell people all the time. They say, I have people that want to get up and speak, and I tell them, I said, what did Nike say? I said, just do it.
Right.
Quit making excuses, because once you do it, you know, things change. And this is one of the things I tell people a lot. I said, you know, God asks you and shows you things you need to do all the times. Just say yes. Quit saying no to everything, and then run after him. Fulfill the calling that you have on your life.
And it's like somebody coming up to you and saying, man, I'm terrible at tennis. And you're like, well, let's go talk to your coach. And how often do you practice? And they're like, coach, practice. What are you talking about?
There you go. They think everything's just going to drop on them.
Right.
Talent don't always drop. Most of the time it's developed.
Yeah.
You develop those things. That's how you develop a voice. That's how you get comfortable speaking. I was one of the worst speakers probably ever, because I was so nervous and I didn't do it. But when you start preaching all the time, then you develop that voice, and people listen to you. They're motivated by that.
Yeah. And really nobody's watching when you're developing. And so if your first 20 speeches are face plants, that's okay, because you got an audience of 2 people.
I face planted, trust me.
Right.
I face planted, and I learned and I grew.
Fantastic. Well, George, thank you so much for coming and share that message. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing in your local community. Keep it up. And let's see if we can get you on our 1-hour show.
I'd love to.
So we can go much deeper into how you develop that voice and how you just keep it going.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Have a great rest of your convention.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co, we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.